So we've got another beautiful cover here by Mr. Ron Volstad. I'm always blown away by how easily he can convey information without overworking things. So here's what's included in the kit. You get a whole bunch of extra stuff, including a bucket. Wowie, wow, wow. Two types of toe clasps, or whatever you call them. Got your ammo. Hey, a spring for the working barrel. That'll be fun. You've got a bucket, metal barrel, smoke grenade launcher parts in metal, and I think those are the smoke grenade inserts. All right, we got a couple of jackets. Got some photo etch for the fenders. Two different patterns. Got separate magic tracks. Oh, that's good. There's the upper hull. Here's the side hull, the rear of the hull. Stowage baskets, there's quite a few there. Turret top there with the gun mantlet. Got a plastic barrel should you choose to use that. Here we've got the early wheels. It's got some nice weld beads. Got lettering on the tires. Oh, here's some photographers in that somewhat not very good plastic. Here's the drive wheel and the idler wheel, the exhaust, the exhaust shrouds, some extra toe. Got some interior parts for the engine bay. More parts for the gun. Here's the hull. It's got that nice strengthening piece of iron in there, and it's nicely welded. And here we have the turret. Here we have some jerry can. Front of the front glacis. Got the jack top of the cupola. Here's some ammo boxes. These are the suspension parts for the inside of the hull, and the instructions. I've always wanted to build one of these. I've got 2 of them in the stash when they came out. I guess it's time to build them now. So as usual, start off with the hull, the wheels, the rear of the hull, getting in some engine parts. Getting onto the top of the hull. Different configurations for towing, whatnot. Got different barrels.
Well, I'm going to start with these drive wheels, and the thing is with this is that Dragon's design is kind of basic when it comes to how these are attached to the hull. There is no way to have these be movable. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm sort of like trying out a way so that I can have these drive wheels, these sprocket wheels, movable, because when they're movable, it actually might help with the placement of the tracks. So my idea here is that I'm going to have this piece that attaches to the shaft that comes through the final drive, and then I'm going to glue that in place, and then once that happens, it should keep the sprocket wheel movable and in the proper orientation. I also had to do something like that for the idler wheel at the rear, but that one I changed the methodology, and it probably would have worked better on this situation as well. But it's a hearkening back to the old days of when you would sort of melt tracks together, or with 1/72 scale armor, you used to like actually sort of take a screwdriver and heat it up, and when it came together there was 2 little pips that you put through these holes, and then you flatten out the plastic, and then that was what was supposed to keep it in place. So that's what I ended up doing with the idler wheel, is that I just heated up the backside of an X-Acto blade and then flattened out the stem of plastic so that it expanded over the entrance hole of the rear idler arm. But here what I'm trying to do is I'm just using a little CA and some accelerator. In the final analysis, this was a weak choice because one of the wheels actually came apart at a certain point. The thing is, with the tracks that are included with this kit, they're not actually really all that movable either. So in a way, this is kind of moot. And
yeah, that didn't work.
But I always like to have that option if I need the drive wheel and idler wheel to be movable. Also, with the track tensioning, I always want to leave the rear idler attachment point movable so that I can swing it around if I need to lengthen the circumference of the track run, you know, so that everything is properly tensioned. Okay, I'm gonna do a new iteration of this idea, and this time I'm gonna use some black CA, see if that makes a difference. Okay, we got to get into the idler wheel now that we figured out the drive wheel. And again, I want to try and make it movable because it makes it a lot easier for when you go to put the tracks on. Let's take a look. How does that work? The idler. I did have a thought that maybe I could melt this. So I'm going to heat up the back end of a knife and then melt that flat. So that'll retain that in there. I have to get a holder here. There we go.
Yeah, that worked really good. All right. One. What are these called again? The suspension is... can't remember. not sure why we even need to put these in, because there's a pin here that this fits into. So unless I want to experiment, maybe you can move it around. But yeah, these are very nicely detailed suspension arms. Like compared to the Tamiya ones, these ones are more detailed by far. These are both the same scale. I've got to clean up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of these. I'll cut those off and I'll get right back to you. So this thing is not really locked in there. And I really don't want to glue that in because it might be useful for making sure the track is in the right position. Now we'll hold off gluing that in. This one we can glue in, but I think we'll hold off on those. In the meantime, let's get the final drive area up to snuff. So you can see this detail here, but then right beside it they have a knockout pin. This weld looks pretty weak too, but it'll never be seen. Okay, let's take a look at this wheel. This is number 1. It's got a nice detail with the text, some nice weld detail. Here it is compared to the Tamiya wheel, which seems rather simplified in comparison. Taking a closer look on the underside, you can see that there is numbering on there. That's number 1, number 7. So I won't get too confused. So there's a few attachment points I've got to get rid of. So I like using a sanding sponge because it's got a bit of give. If I were to use like a flat sanding file or sanding stick or whatever, it would probably leave a flat spot. But with this, I can get a nice clean surface without any flat spots.
Fifteen minutes later.
2 and 3 go together. Use my thick stuff. All right, here's part 4 and 6. And while I usually am pretty anal about keeping things separate so I can paint them properly, yeah, I think I'm going to still do that. Yeah. Having one of the wheels missing. Instead of having an E1 sit on top of there, you can have this. What are these gaps here? Ah. Some nice welds there. Way better than mine. You like So I've got this stuff that is like a two-part putty. I think it's like similar to stuff that you can get for plumbers. But you take it and you cut a piece off, but there's an activator and the other part, so it's a two-part putty. And you mix it together. And the good thing about this stuff is that it actually gets hard and sandable. And the other good thing about it is that it's pretty sticky, so when you put it on something, it usually stays. But the other good thing about it too as well is that it gets hard in about 5 minutes. Sort of like me when I was younger. Well, it wouldn't even take 5 minutes. But anyway, so as you could see on here, because the attachment point to the sprue was right on the edge, I kind of nicked it. So I was thinking I'd just use like a Mr. Surface or coating, but I think it's a little too deep for that. So I'm going to fill it with this stuff and then come back and sand it. And the good thing is I don't have to wait too long for that. All right. Just leave that now. Come back later. So let's put on this rear towing pimp. Let's put on this rear towing pintle or attachment point or whatever you want to call it. So that goes like that, but I guess we better cut these little doodads off, being careful not to get too close. So the part B7 goes to the top when it's normal. So that goes in there. So this idea with the piece of plastic on the end, it didn't work on this side anyway. Still working on this side. So I think the thing is to do it like the second when I did the idler wheel, just melt it down and that should work, I hope. If not, I'll just glue it on. Well, I've got these parts, but I'm not going to glue them on yet because I want to get access all the way down in there to paint these. To paint the exhausts. These aren't even on there really. G22. Not sure what this is for, but we'll find out together. Yeah, I'm not sure. What is that for again? Can't remember. You know, I'm building a Tamiya Tiger 1 at the same time, and I'm using all these upgrade things from Aber and whatnot. And I gotta tell you, it's a heck of a lot harder than working with these ones. These modern Tiger tanks from Dragon are amazing. But I have yet to build a Ryefield one. I want to because I really like their kits. I built some Leopards from them before. But yeah, this is light years ahead of what Tamiya had for their early. The amount of time I put in that other one, I could have built 3 of these. So these are the lifting lugs, because these are heavy cast metal. They protect the exhaust stacks. Damn. That is so beautiful now, you know. So beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I'm in ecstasy. So for the rear fenders, Dragon has included in this kit an option. And the option is to use this metal part for the rear. Would that be fender, or what do you call that? I don't know. I guess it's like a mud guard or something. And while it's tempting to use that, you also have these, which are the plastic version. So either spending an hour or so on these, or just glue those on in 2 minutes. Or the third option is just not to include them. And I've seen some reference photographs where those back fenders aren't even on. So I might even skip that part, just to have a different look. So even though this is very good model, I bought this Aber set. Wouldn't you know it? And this is a more modern one, although it's still 2005. But it's got some really good screens. Gives you a pretty thorough understanding of how these were all hooked up. So I think I'm going to do it. Made in Poland. Not even sure if the initial one, especially this one that I'm doing, the 100, I don't know if it even had screens. I guess I'll have to do a Google search. So maybe I don't even put these on. This is another set I got, which is actually probably going to be pretty useful. It's the stowage bins that go on the side of the turret. Oh, this bag is just a little bit too tight.
All right, guys, that's it for today. I think what we're going to do is wrap it up here, and be sure to join us for the next episode in this Dragon Tiger 1 Initial number 100. Okay, so in the meantime and in between time, that's another edition of Jet Scale Models. You all come back now. You hear?